Hey everyone, Kyle once again, aka Dressy Godzilla fan. And now on to the next entry in the Halloween series, which I'm really glad to be reviewing, which is now the seventh one, Halloween 7, or as called Halloween H2O, aka 20 years later. And Jamie Lee Curtis comes back as Laurie Strode. Laurie Strode comes back. Jamie Lee Curtis, which I say is a really great thing. Is this film is really another good sequel in this. Not as great as Halloween 4 or 2, but it still holds up to the first film, having Laurie Strode come back. Also among the cast, you have what was it? Was also you also cast you also have Josh Hartnett. I believe this was also the first film that's Josh Hartnett stars in. Yeah. Yeah, this is Josh Hartnett, who would be in Pearl Harbor and Black Hawk Down, and also 30 Days of Night, the vampire film. And also in a small role with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Joseph Gordon-Levitt from Dark Knight Rises, Inception, Looper, among other films. And also you have LL Cool J. And it's directed by Steve Miner, who directed Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3. He directed the horror comedy film House, which I enjoy. Lake Placid, that I enjoy. And he also directed the Day of the Dead remake, which sucked. That film sucked. With the Spider-Man zombies, that can jump around, and fly around really high. That movie sucked big time. I am not reviewing. I'm not reviewing that film because that movie will just make me mad even more if I watch it again. So yeah, he directed this film H2O. So, and it was released on August 5th, 1998, and it was a success. It was a success. One of the highest ones in the series. I believe it's the third highest grossing film in the series. Budget 17 million, made total worldwide made like 55 million. So that's pretty successful. It's the third one. It's the third highest grossing one in the series. Has been given mixed reviews, but has a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes. I would say fair enough, but I believe it could be just a little bit higher. I would say about 60%. But I thought it could be low because this was a good sequel. A good sequel with Halloween 2 and Halloween 4. So I thought it could be just a little bit higher. And on IMDb, it has a 5.4 on IMDb. I would also say I would give it a 6 point or so on IMDb. But certainly a lot better than Halloween 5 or Halloween 6, which has a 4.6 on IMDb, which deserves to be lower. And which I didn't mention in the previous review, but it also has a 7% on Rotten Tomatoes. Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. It deserves it. In fact, it deserves 0. But 7%, I'm glad. So, but Halloween H2O, because I didn't mention that in the previous review. So Halloween H2O has a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes and has a 5.4 on IMDb. I think both of those could be higher because could be a little more higher because this was a good sequel. And I do like the film. So it's, like I said, H2O. So it's 20 years later. So you have the it opens up It takes place. It's like a couple days before, 29th before October 29th before Halloween. Um, the nurse Marion Chambers from Halloween 1 and 2. In the first film, she was with Donald Pleasence at the start of the film, driving to the institution, and the second one she was also with Donald Pleasence and Jamie Lee Curtis at the end. So that same character comes back in this, and she finds out that her house was been burglarized because you have a room and a wall, a bunch of papers and file cabinets, it's been papers all over the floor, and she she wants to always run away from the police, but she discovers that the file on Laurie Strode is missing, and it goes to she goes to the next door. Jimmy, played by young Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He says he wants to look at the house, finds nothing there, and he goes back to his house. But then when she finds that file is missing, she runs back to his house, and automatically he finds him dead, sitting in a chair with a ice skate in his face. The blade is in his face. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he got killed with an ice skate in the face. I thought that was funny. So yeah, he has an ice skate in his face, and she goes to the back door, finds that his friend was also killed. I think he was like stabbed in the back, and then Michael Myers appears. She hits him a couple times with one of the poking thing, he put in the fireplace. He hits him a couple times. She sees the cops that they're at her house. She smashes the window, trying to yell for help, but then she gets her throat slit. Then the police see the busted window, investigate there, but then Michael Myers drives away. So then that was 20 years, and so yeah, like I said, then it goes to Jamie Lee Curtis, who's having nightmares. She has taken on a new identity, because in the fourth film, she faked her death so she can move on with her life and under a different name. So she's having nightmare, and she awakes from a nightmare, and her son played by Josh Hartnett tells her it's been 20 years, he would have come back, Michael Myers is gone, he's dead. But she still thinks that he's alive. He's still alive and still coming after her. And because and finally she's right, because Michael Myers is still coming after her. She finds out where she's at. She's working at a school in California. I think it's California. Then he steals another car from a mother and her daughter that were at this little rest stop. Takes the keys from her purse and steals their car and drives over there. LL Cool J, he's the security guard at the front gate of the school. Josh Hartnett tells him to cover from to do something and try to make plans, trying to do like a Halloween party or something. He gets in trouble. And Jamie Lee Curtis was with her boyfriend, has a new boyfriend, Will, who also works at the school. They said the school, the rest of the school was going on this camping trip, but Josh Hartnett and her girlfriend and two others, they want to stay at the school to have a private Halloween party. LL Cool J is at the front gate. Sees the car that Michael Myers is driving, pulls up. He's saying, well, who's in there? But as he opens the gate, he finds the car is empty. You see Michael Myers walk right past him. And then the phones are cut off. He was talking to his woman on the phone, because he was like writing. Because LL Cool J, he also is like writing writing stories, like romance stories. But his on the phone, his woman is not buying them. and honestly, he doesn't die in this film. You know, I'm not trying to be racist because he's the only black person in this film, and he doesn't die. Not once again, not being racist. I'm just saying. Um, he's meanwhile Jamie Lee Curtis is with her with a boyfriend Will. You know, he tells us a story about what happened about her brother. You know, about her brother, and finds out that her son is at the school. You know, so they drive over there, and at the school, you know, one of the Josh Hartnett and one of his friends, you know, goes to the kitchen and finds gets a corkscrew that Jackson like dropped in the sink. He gets it. Then Michael Myers kills him, slits his throat with the corkscrew, but you don't see it. You don't see it because her girlfriend finds him dead and sees him and goes up in the dumbwaiter elevator. He cuts the line. Her foot gets caught and crushed, but he kills her, stabs her in the back multiple times. Then Josh Hart and his girlfriend find the dead body of that girl, and they run away from Michael Myers. He gets stabbed in the leg, and they close the gate, but then they drop the keys, and Michael Myers is trying to get in, open the gate. And then for the first pretty much the first time, when Laurie Strode lets him in, he stares right at Michael Myers, looking at him. He looks at her like this, you know. Tell him, who was that? My brother. And the thing they see someone coming, thinking it's Michael, and Will shoots the person. He finds out that it was LL Cool J, but he gets knocked down. The bullet grazes his head, but he's not dead though. He just passed out. But you know, he thought that was him. Then Michael Myers comes up, stabs Will in the back, you know, lifts him up, you know, kills him, and then she runs like thinks that she's hiding in this closet, stabs the door, but hits him in the head with a fire extinguisher. And Josh Hart and his girlfriend, they all run to the car and drive away. But Laurie Strode knows she'll stay behind because she has to finish what she started from. You know, gets an axe. Michael Myers appears like from above her, you know, and hits him with the axe, but didn't do nothing to him, you know. She, and then she's like in the the lunchroom, you know, hiding underneath the tables. And then Michael Myers flips the tables over and stabs him with the flagpole. Then he goes back to the kitchen and gets in like a drawer with a bunch of knives, throwing knives at him. Then she runs off, and then she starts stabbing him multiple times, and he falls off the balcony onto one of the tables. She thinks that she's dead. Tries to do this, try to stab him once and for all to kill him, but then LL Cool J stops her, and Mike Myers is being carted away in a body bag, you know, in the van, and LL Cool J has bandage on his head, is telling his girlfriend tells him he wants to write a thriller, you know. I want to write a thriller, you know. And then, but Michael Myers, he's being carted away on the morgue van in the body bag. Laurie Strode knows that she's not dead, so she steals the van. He comes out of the body bag and hits the brakes, goes through the windshield out of the vehicle. He tries to hit him again, and the van falls downhill. She gets thrown, and Michael Myers he lands on a large branch, and his body gets crushed between the branch and the van. It slams into his body, and she gets the axe and looks and tells him, you know, extends his hand out, you know, and she does almost touches his hand, but then lowers it and then just swings the axe and cuts his head off. And that's the movie, thinking that he's dead once and for all. It didn't leave this film. The this time the film just did not look like a sequel baited ending. You know, she just cuts his head off that's the end of Michael Myers. He's dead once and for all. But in 2002, in the case, not, because you get Halloween Resurrection. So yeah, I think it would have been a good ending to just end it right there. He didn't need Halloween Resurrection, though. It could have been ended just right there. We finally cut his head off once and for all, and he's dead once and for all. But that's not the case, because that's when Halloween 8 Resurrection comes in. So yeah, Halloween 7 or Halloween H2O. It was a good. I would say it's a good sequel though, but I would say it's not the best behind Halloween 4 and number 2. But it's still a good sequel. It held up to the original, because 20 years later, Jamie Lee Curtis is trying to live on her life, but she's having nightmares. But she knows he's coming back for her still, even after 20 years later. So it was a pretty decent sequel. Much better than Halloween 5 and 6, because this sequel just ignore the events didn't mention number 4, 5, and 6. Didn't even mention. It was like take those sequels out, including Halloween 3, and make this. It would have been the sequel after number 2. Halloween 1, 2, and then this, because it didn't mention Halloween. Doesn't even mention Halloween 4, 5, and 6. Well, at the start of the film, when the beginning credits are rolling, it goes at the nurse's house. Has a bunch of pictures and a map, where all the stuff that Michael Myers, Kurt had, a bunch of photos, evidence stuff, and you hear Dr. Loomis's voice, Dr. Loomis's voice being and it wasn't even Donald's Pleasance's voice narrate as Dr. Loomis narrating that short scene there. It wasn't even him, because Halloween 6, 1995, that was his last film, and he passed away. Since then, before this one was made. So yeah, you got a different person narrating the voice of Dr. Loomis in that beginning scene there. Pretty much saying the same line that that Dr. Loomis said in the first film. I met 15 years ago. What was living behind that boy's eyes was purely simply evil. That line from the first film was saying that. So yeah, Halloween H2O, decent. Really, it was a decent sequel in the series. It was a decent, or good, I would say. Decent, good. I would give it like a 1 thumbs up to it though, because it was like it said like I said it was like on how like in the trailer said where the critics were calling this one like finally a sequel that held up to the original. I would say it held up to the original because you had Jamie Lee Curtis coming back after 20 years later after the events of the first film. So yeah, Halloween H2O, really good, decent sequel. So stay tuned for the next sequel, Halloween Resurrection. So see you soon.